It's that time of year. Time for E3. As promised, I plan to do some coverage of the conferences. In this case, highlights and a bit of commentary. Such a monumental task can't be done alone, of course. I have with me my faithful pet, Cringe Watchdog, to help us all know when cringy, stupid shit shows up in these conferences in the coming week. Here, boy, come here. Good boy. We'll see plenty of him later. For now, let's get started. So, the EA conference. Oh boy, I knew from the get-go that this was going to be a mess, and I was not disappointed there. The conference basically opens up with some random shit that you could be forgiven for not knowing anything about. Get used to being confused and lost, because that's the theme in this conference.
Welcome everybody to EA Play. I'm Andrea Renee, and while you might recognize me from the gaming community, I'm kind of a new face around here. So this year, EA wanted to change things up, because they know that I'm both a gamer and a fan. So they invited me to come and host the show, and I think this year is going to be a lot of fun, you guys. I hope you're ready.
Sorry ma'am, but I have no idea who you are. Also, boy, E3 wanted to change things up. They did an awful job. Full disclosure, I've seen this whole thing already, and it's as bad as you can imagine.
But before we can get to that, we've got some reveals, of course. We're going to kick things off with a look at Battlefield 5 multiplayer. Now, I know Trevor Noah gave you the first look. Yeah, we can clap it up. Last month, but we've got some new stuff to show you today. Then we're going to move on to FIFA 19, and boy, do they have some big news, you guys. Any World Cup fans? You guys excited? Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Holy shit, could the audience be any less excited? I can't tell if it's because this woman is a mediocre host or because EA releases mediocre games, and soccer is nothing to get excited about. Oh look, it's Cringe Watchdog. Good eye, boy. Just look at this poor kid. She makes things so awkward. Pretty much the entire conference, it almost feels like no one wants to be there. It's hilarious. I wouldn't be shocked if EA had to pay people to put asses in all their seats. Of course, EA goes right to their big name game, Battlefield 5. I get it, they want to start out strong. One of the things you'll notice is that they moved away from, we want something close to historical accuracy, Battlefield, and now it's our interpretation of World War II.
Know how customization actually works. We want to know more about our take on the Second World War.
Why not just say that to start? One of the biggest reveals of the press conference?
We'll bring something new. And as part of that journey, after launch, you'll get something I know a lot of you have been asking for.
It's Royale. It's Royale reimagined for Battlefield.
Battlefield Royale mode. Yep. Because it's not a game in 2018 unless it has a Battle Royale mode. Anyway, I won't lie. The game looks great, the destruction looks cool. I probably won't get to play it, but hey.
Ikke en dråpe. Jeg elsker deg.
Sus!
Boy, they are really trying to make Battlefield 5 the game that represents 2018, aren't they? In probably the biggest bait and switch of gaming history, yes, we go from Battlefield 5 footage with no actual transition into sports games bullshit. I'm pretty sure at this point EA's stranglehold on sports games is the only thing keeping them afloat right now, cause there's no other explanation for it. Still, I gotta say, they make soccer look way more interesting and exciting than it actually is, and I feel like that's all the sport actually has. People working hard to make it seem like it's this wild and crazy sport. If you want more proof that no one in the room gives a shit about soccer, watch their reaction to the World Cup. I guarantee you 90% of them had no idea the World Cup was starting soon.
But in the meantime, let's all enjoy the World Cup. Thank you, and auf from Eastern!
So after that train wreck, EA CEO Andrew Wilson comes up on stage to introduce an EA-specific, Origin-based game streaming service, but you wouldn't know it. It takes him so long to get to the point and introduce what the hell he's talking about that I spent several minutes lost as he just gushed about it. I don't see it doing particularly well, simply because it's EA and Origin, but hey, who knows? Speaking of hilarious, EA thought it'd be a good idea to have the host basically corner a Respawn Entertainment developer and force him to announce a new Star Wars game. As you can see, he's got the hype cranked to 1, just like the rest of the audience, and I can just imagine some poor Disney executive screaming at his computer over this part.
So, you guys may have seen that Vince was tweeting yesterday, and there has been a bunch of speculation. So, you want to just get right to it?
Sure. I mean, we're not ready to show all of our stuff yet. We're working on a bunch of stuff. It's amazing. The teams are kicking ass, but we wanted to bring a little tidbit. So we've been working with Lucas on getting the name and kind of the setting for what our Star Wars game is going to be, and we're going to talk about it right now.
Oh, you guys got any guesses? I bet you the internet is going wild right now.
I hope so.
Then a guy walks on stage from off the street. Okay, not really, but someone screwed up by picking this guy. He looks like he's either having a stroke or he's just completely exhausted. To be fair, the guy tries his best at least. The best part of this segment is that EA, a multi-million-dollar company, didn't think it'd be a good idea to have more than 3 seconds of gameplay for their Star Wars Battlefront 2 announcement because it loops several times.
We added a new hunt mode, inspired by the original Battlefront games that I loved personally, starting with the Ewoks on Endor. And thank you. It turned out to be by far the most popular update of the game, and the team loved building Ewok Hunt. So, as you might know, we're currently in our Han Solo season with content from the movie coming next week. It's headlined by the new planet Kessel, a really dangerous place, and it features the return of one of our favorite modes, Extraction. So looking forward a little bit, this summer we will be introducing a new squad system to the game, which will allow you to team up much easier and play with your friends. We're also adding a new Starfighter mode focused around dogfighting with your hero ships. And looking ahead a little bit more, we will also be delivering a new large-scale multiplayer sandbox experience focused around capturing command posts and attacking and taking out capital ships. But that's not all. We know that you have been asking.
It's just some really lazy stuff. On the plus side, Battlefront 2 is getting General Grievous, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Count Dooku, all apparently based on their Clone Wars appearances. It's nice to know that the rumors of EA abandoning Battlefront 2 were bullshit. Then there's an announcement for Unravel 2. Honestly, I didn't even know there was a first one, but this looks cute. Then they bring a guy on stage to play some gameplay where they brag you can play co-op by yourself. I don't know if that's really something to brag about, but hey, they seemed awfully proud about it.
About how you can play the game in co-op with yourself, essentially.
Jumping forward a bit, because there's a whole lot of nothing for several minutes, we come to an announcement for a game called Sea of Solitude. One of the things I think EA and their partners fail to consider, and most developers for that matter, is that most people don't care for long-winded explanations. They want to hear your game title and see what you have to offer. That said, even though the lady they bring on stage to introduce the game babbles on for way too long, Sea of Solitude definitely seems like something to keep your eyes on in the future. Credit where credit is due, it looks solid. Sadly, if you're hoping for the conference to improve from here, this is the highest point of the entire conference, which is still not much of a high point. Then we've got a basketball announcement, and a football announcement. If I could care any less, I might collapse into a singularity. The next game that comes up, you'll notice that they don't announce what it is initially. They invite a couple of nobodies I've never heard of on stage to play this great new mobile game they're gearing up to announce. What could this amazing, single-tap, easily controlled strategy genre mobile game be?
Ladies and gentlemen, what you just saw was the worldwide reveal of Command & Conquer Rivals. Rivals reimagines the real-time strategy experience for mobile.
If Command & Conquer was one of your favorite series, let me be the first to offer my condolences for your loss. As if that wasn't a kick right in the teeth to Command & Conquer fans, they have the gall to show off an announcement trailer for this mobile travesty that probably cost more than the development of the game itself. Then there's Anthem stuff and actual gameplay for once, a rarity in this conference for sure. At least for games anyone gives a shit about. This Anthem segment is probably the longest one of the entire conference, so they're clearly trying to go out strong. It basically looks like if Destiny and Borderlands had a kid and gave it an Iron Man suit. Not that that's a bad thing, I personally think Anthem has a fairly solid chance to be successful. That's about it after that. They have a little montage of what they showed off at the end, but that's just their way of closing out the conference. Two things before I wrap this up myself. I've never seen someone virtue signal as hard as EA's CEO Andrew Wilson. Just watch this shit.
Where we show the world how the power of play can be a positive force for social impact. Millions of you out there participated in 9 in-game challenges in our games, logging millions of hours in support of Play to Give. And to celebrate that, we contributed a total of $1 million to 3 charities that share our vision for a more inclusive world. A world where representation and equality are not something we strive for, they are the standards. And where bullying and exclusion are not an everyday threat. These 3 organizations, the United Nations He for She, PACE's National Bullying Prevention Center, and Ditch the Label, an anti-bullying organization.
Seriously, if this guy's virtue signal were any brighter, we could put him on a turntable and use him to warn ships away from sea cliffs. Way to pat yourself on the back, Mr. Wilson. Finally, for those of you keeping score, you remember the big EA leaks that people were clamoring about a few weeks ago? Yeah, I did a video about it. Pretty much debunked the first day. Isn't that sad? The only things the leak got right were Madden and Anthem, and even then, most of the details were as wrong as the rest of the leak for EA. And there you have it. I just saved you an hour of your life watching the EA conference. You can thank me in the comments section below. But it was great hanging out with you today. If you like my stuff, be sure to subscribe for more Chunky Beef, or follow us on social media, links in the description below. See you in the next video.